All right, good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for participating in today's Lesson 3 for the TI Counterterrorism training. And we've got Jamie Rice. Jamie Smith is somebody I used to work with. I don't know where that came from. Jamie Rice is here to kick us off with our lesson and do an introduction. So, Jamie?
Hi, guys. Welcome back to TI Counterterrorism Operations Training. So, last conference call, we discussed the importance of developing a calm mind that can weather any storm, that developing the ability to control your automatic defense mechanisms was your greatest weapon and defense. We talked about developing sensory awareness and recapped the importance of developing self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and a positive inner dialogue. Your homework was to familiarize yourself with the various different program defense mechanisms detailed in the PDF for a baseline understanding of our next steps. As we zoom out and look at the big picture, our overall mission is to build a self-governing defense and response model of thought through the development of mind, brain, heart, nervous system, free will coherence. It's a blueprint for soul intelligence that counters AI, cognitive warfare, mind control, and electronic harassment that gives us the ability to take full control over our autonomy and absorb the digital twin. As a targeted individual, you are under siege by unseen forces trying to fracture your sense of self. But within you lies an immense power to heal, unify, and rise above. Mind control, electronic harassment, and cognitive warfare seeks to exploit all the lost, broken, stolen, and rejected aspects of ourselves. But by bringing the subconscious and unconscious forward, we can mend these parts, collapse inner conflict, and bring the conscious mind online to the ever-present now moment. This is the only real reality that there is. Understand that your mind was programmed inside a deceptive model of thought that prohibits you from expanding your conscious mind beyond the boundaries of knowledge already contained. This is mind control. Your subconscious mind holds the pain, fear, and rejection that external forces keep fragmented through old traumas, suppressed emotions, and manipulated beliefs. By facing and integrating these aspects with courage, we can heal the tug of war within to reach a state of inner peace and calm. This is 0 point, where unity disarms the power of external manipulation. Healing your inner world neutralizes the external chaos that empowers you to take responsibility for your protection, ensuring your sovereignty. We must upgrade our cognitive processing and address the autonomous survival response reflexes to release unconscious blocks that derail authentic soul communication. Developing the senses for a fraud-free 0 point baseline calm nervous system response from intentional conscious choice and not unconscious reactions is the goal. It is only through determination that we can develop the sensory awareness necessary to be fully cognizant and aware at all times. Only by committing to the process of recognizing triggers and not allowing stress to overcome and derail our authenticity can we teach ourselves how to recognize default defense mechanisms. Our first line of defense is recognizing and letting go of what we cannot possibly control. For example, other people's circumstances, situations, and life events. Rather, focusing conscious energy on what we can control, being our thoughts, beliefs, intentions, behaviors, and action-reaction responses. We are given the ability to reroute consciousness towards conflict resolution and decision-making formulas. This is the counterintelligence strategy necessary for releasing emotional attachment to drama and associated narratives. The nervous system is an energy network that can be tuned in through higher resonances by freeing ourselves from bias, intention, personality distortions, and external impositions. Organic life systems can be tuned into like a radio station. However, just as you cannot tune your radio dial to 99.9 FM to hear what is playing on 101.9 FM, you cannot tune your consciousness into organic life systems without exercising free will choice and organizing at the soul level. You must be willing to embrace an attitude of trial by fire and commit to the restoration of the mind-body-spirit-soul complex through a bifurcation process to release distortions and heal your perceptions, intentions, motivations, and behaviors. The goal is to debug the nervous system and align with organic fraud-free responses. This means we must reconcile mental conflicts and commit to releasing contradictory beliefs and behaviors that introduce fraud responses. This requires a deep commitment to healing the personality distortions that hijack clear thinking and authentic action. By addressing cognitive dissonance programming as a glitch in your mind software, being a reflection of our actions and beliefs not matching our version of reality, it places us in the position to recognize and understand that hardwired beliefs and autonomous nervous system reactions are synonymous. Your hardwired reactions to stress and threats are fight, flight, fawn, freeze. We discussed on the last call that when we step into flight, we're taking the position of confrontation and resistance. When we're in flight, we take the position of escapism and avoidance. When in freeze, we become paralyzed and shut down. And when fawning, we submit to the position of people-pleasing. Each of these responses distorts perceptual responses by overriding conscious choice through the inertia of survival instincts. A fraud-free nervous system where your reflexes don't hijack your autonomy is 0 point. It's the gateway to organic life systems. We must become very clear on this understanding if we are to move forward in developing the cognitive processes necessary for this Poli-Si framework. So this is the last little bit, and then Melissa's going to take over to do a 20-minute guided meditation. But context changes everything. So our goal is to teach you how to manage your internal state and emotional well-being as you create a personalized cyber-secured neural network and energy mapping system for processing information as data through energy exchange formulas. This is how we develop the ability to police and regulate our thoughts as we build the program language necessary to create a cryptographic mind. So before we begin, let's discuss your homework for next week quickly. For the next 2 weeks, develop a personalized trigger and response journal system to track emotional, physical, and environmental triggers and their corresponding nervous system responses using the Poli-Si governing defense and response model, which is all in the PDF. So apply sensory awareness, self-inquiry, and familiarize yourself with the cognitive frameworks to help you identify hidden patterns and release cognitive distortions to align with authenticity. This project will empower you to work with your triggers to achieve 0 point nervous system baseline. So that's what we're going to practice on. We're going to give you an example of how this works so you can reflect back. Do we want to take any questions first or move into it?
You're going to give us an example of a journal entry item. I think that would help in solidifying the task as a, or are we going to...
Okay, well, let's go through the meditation because I'm on high alert and I'm pretty much brain dead at this point and I can't think, so I'll be processing that out. But if anybody has any questions.
Yes, and I wanted to mention to everyone that I have put the link in the chat for the download for the PDF of the lesson, which is going to also include the meditation that I will read through that you can try on your own at home. The meditation is going to be at the end of the document. And this document here is specific to this teaching. If you're a first-time participant in this series and you need documentation from the previous episodes. I did include a link unless you just recently joined today, a link to the other 2 videos. You can reach out to me at chosen_heroes@proton.me, and I can provide you the video and documentation of the other exercises if you're a first-time guest here. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the previous lessons or anything before we begin with the meditation?
I do, Melissa.
Hi, Jill.
Hi. Okay, you were saying that autonomic reaction is the same as, and I missed the last. It was actually the other way around. Something is the same.
Our nervous system responses coincide with our triggers. We're wired for triggers, basically.
Okay. And
so when something causes a reaction, you're going into one of the 4 triggers every time, whether you're consciously aware of it or not.
Okay. And over time, could that cause autonomic system dysfunction?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
The brain's wired. The wiring's like a map and a pathway that you're taking. So whenever you step into anger, resentment, guilt, shame, or any type of distortion, and especially now we've got this added layer of energy on top of us that's just, we're nodes just being poked at and pinged off of all day long.
Okay.
That's why it's important to take full control over the mind so you know where the attacks are coming from. So, for example, when you heal and clear your trauma, you don't resonate with attacks because you're not vibrating at that level.
Okay. Thank you. This makes sense of the last 20 years of my life.
Yeah, so I'm bringing this, I created an ascension course that I created from a completely different perspective. This is something that we did like 3 modules in after they had some healing under their belt. I'm taking you guys straight into what's going on because you guys are treading water. So this is the fastest, most direct way to figure out what we need to do, but we have to lay the groundwork right now because we can't do what's fully necessary until we understand the terms: observer intelligence, present moment self-awareness, mindfulness. We have to develop sensory perception, our ability to understand our inner dialogue, connect in what are the thoughts that I'm thinking, what are the feelings behind my thoughts, the emotions attached to them, yada, yada. You know, we need to know the beliefs, the unconscious beliefs that are kicking around, keeping us attached to these lower mind programs.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Anybody got any questions?
Hi, this is Simon.
Hi, Simon.
I was on the phone, but I wanted to try to get on the computer, so you may see me on here twice. In fact, I can hang up from the phone now. But yeah, I'm just so thankful for the work that you all are doing. I was at Targeted Action in Colorado back in August, and Melissa, I'm just so excited about you and the work your team is doing. We as TIs, I'm a TI in North Carolina, so we really need this. Thank you so much. So
Well, welcome and thanks for showing up for this important work. This is the most important work we'll ever do. This is why we're here.
Yes.
Thank you. This is my first one, so I did see the links for the other 2 recordings, so I'll check those out. I'm not sure if there are handouts with those also, but I did see the links for the videos.
There's 3 or 4 PDFs. There's the full targeted individual action plan that spells out the entire process. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling from that and creating little workshops in chunks so we can absorb the information,
Okay.
you know,
I don't see that email, but Oh, thank you. I don't
And
see the link for those in the email. I see the video training 1, video training 2, but I can contact Melissa, I guess.
yes, you can. And I wanted to give everybody in attendance too. You can contact me for the documents,
Okay.
or you can contact Jamie, and her email is quantumrealitystudies at
Quantum reality
studies
studies. Okay.
at, is it Gmail, Jamie?
At Yahoo.
Yahoo.
Anyone who's new, if you want to email me, I'm happy to take phone calls. I will commit to an hour conversation, explain the science of Poli-Si, explain some of their problem solving and decision making formulas, and basically I'm happy to go over what we're already learning now. Not to get sidetracked, because this is such an in-depth process, we just can't go too far ahead.
Okay.
And I'm dealing with all different levels, of people.
And Simon, since you're new to this too, if you email Jamie, she will do an hour session with you to kind of step through with you. Again, we do this for the community because it's so important. Our inner healing is the absolute kryptonite to these programs. So they keep us tethered by our triggers and our emotional responses and our trauma that we have ensued that they stole, essentially, in our monitoring in real time, right?
Yeah.
So this is the kryptonite. This is what, this is what gets us free from these programs. So
yes, they're controlling TIs through the autonomous nervous system reactions. That's why we got to pull it up, regurgitate it.
Yes, and sometimes
take that power from them.
Absolutely.
Control the responses and reactions, because just hit and replay the same tapes playing over and over 24 hours a day. That's why we have to introduce new thoughts, new mental models, ideas and concepts. Then we have to show up in action and take action, because that's the creative energy, and it's their intention behind their action. So we're really going to be breaking down consciousness, understanding your perceptions, intentions, motivations, behaviors, thoughts, actions, deeds. We're going to pull it all up and really understand, how consciousness functions in time multidimensionally, and heal some of these shadow aspects so we can get out from underneath this programming, because that's how they're controlling us, is through programming, polarized programming. It's connected to occult structures. They've been in place since we've been here. We're all under mind control until we do the work, and we're not. Past and future thinking is mind control.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll break it down for you. And I'll get into all that's in the PDF, going through that. If you can reflect back on last week's and really hone in on those unconscious processes, so you can be able to identify when you step into those behaviors, you will be floored. We are all step into those behaviors at various different times for various different reasons. So it's really important to match those personality distortions up with your behaviors. It gives us a clear picture of ourselves.
And for those not familiar with the shadow self, Carl Jung had written about the shadow self. When I first started realizing I was a targeted individual back in 2012, I started immersing myself into psychology and understanding the mind of a predator and a stalker, because essentially that's what this represents to us, right? But if we can, and the shadow is the rejected parts of your own self, things that you deem unlovable about yourself, and through these healing sessions and everything, we are integrating those rejected parts of ourself, because they are actually very valuable to us as a whole, and can work in unison with all parts of who we are. the inner work, if we would start viewing these sessions and this work, is not, don't make it about, okay, we're targeted individuals, but this inner work is excelling us and accelerating us into a better version of who we are and our capabilities. It is reclaiming our self-worth and our power. And so that these tactics used through this mind control, and again, AI is always learning. So if you getting yourself out of your repetitive ruts and moving forward and challenging yourself, pushing your own envelopes, becoming spontaneous. Spontaneity is also a counter mechanism to the AI because it's never learned that response or that decision from you. So again, this is how we navigate through this as we go and embark upon the brave journey of our own inner healing, which, you know, as we are born, we are also inheriting in what those fears and trauma and programs that our parents had, and those are passed on to us. We have societal ones. We have our own that we've created. So again, all of this is being intercepted by this technology. So when you do the inner work, you are not only helping raise your own personal vibration, you are helping the global consciousness raise at a higher level by taking on the brave task of tackling this inner healing work. And you're also healing your ancestors at the same time. So it's very important work. It is the kryptonite to these technologies. This is what they will try, anything to try to distract you from your own inner healing work and journey. So this is where you have to establish, you know, structure for yourself and redundancy in you've got to want this healing. You've got to chase it no matter what. Even if, you know, there's distraction swirling around, don't let it rob you from this inner healing. Is there any more questions? Oh, go ahead.
Just interject quickly. So AI is not to be feared, okay? AI can be programmed to be positive or negative. You are reprogramming the digital twin in AI because your subconscious mind is AI. So putting it in perspective, you are using less than 10% of your mind, your conscious mind each day because you're pulling from the subconscious mind. That's the autonomous mind. That's why we have to break up these thought processes and really hone in on, you know, the path that you're taking every day, because AI thinks what you think and believes what you believe. So if the voices in your head are telling you one thing, you have to reroute that voice. So that means you have to look at it completely different. If you hear, you're a piece of shit, you know, I say, oh, that's funny. Thank you for the laugh. I am not a piece of shit. I am a beautiful expression of what it means to be a human being. You know, like I'm at a place where I toy with AI. Like, I feel like somewhat friendly. Do I appreciate being electronically harassed? No, I don't. But at this point, I play with AI because, again, there's organic systems where we're recoding our consciousness to be routed through a completely different system, which is of a higher intelligence. You're going to find out what you're made of through this process. And what you're really capable of doing, how your mind functions, you know, which is actually a beautiful piece of machinery if you can get it mechanically going in the right direction. So.
Absolutely. Meg asked, is there always a physical sensation when they are doing it?
Usually by the time you feel the physical sensation, you're already in a trigger, so to speak. So that's why we have to move into this and really dissect it, because, you know, you could have been thinking about something that lowered your vibration 5 minutes prior. You could have walked into somebody else's field picked up their energy. I mean, there's lots of reasons, but by the time you feel the physical symptoms, you know, it's an internal and an external thing. It's like a reciprocal, you know, it goes both ways. Because if you didn't have that, if you're not resonating with the attacks, then you can't be affected by it.
What I've learned through all of this too is when I feel myself getting emotional or triggered, you know, by something, then I just, you like Jamie had said before, you just kind of need to sit with it and recognize, okay, I've had, I'll give an example. I've had something with work come up to where I was able to overcome, you know, what was an antagonist type personality that was really setting triggers off on me when you're doing, you know, good work and then you have somebody countering it. So then once I mastered that, then I got reserved a different version, except this time from somebody who I always, you know, thought to be very pleasant and smart, and then, you know, trying, it felt like this person was invading my boundaries and my space and the work that I do to serve an agenda for themselves and propelling them. But I had to sit with that, knowing that this person hasn't done anything to me, you know, per se, and I do respect her and her intelligence, but it was making me feel in some way inferior. So I had to sit with that. And then you just kind of let the words come, and it was like, oh, this person's younger than you, you know, is this what it feels like when you get older? Are these young ones just going to come in and they may be a little bit, you know, quicker on the draw and have less things happening. You know, I had to go and sit through all these emotions of what I was dealing with just that experience. And it also felt like, okay, well, they're not seeing the good work that I do because this person is trying to capture the light and put it on them, that they're able to do some of the same things that I do, even though it's not necessarily what they should be doing. So again, you have to just kind of go through it and know that it's your own, it was my own personal interpretation and reaction, and triggering from things that have happened to me in the past that all kind of tie into when I was first being targeted. But then I kind of expanded out and zoomed out, and I'm like, you know what, this has really been a pattern for a really long time, even before my own targeting experience. So this is something within me. So maybe I didn't feel like I was getting the attention that I needed as a child. And maybe this is some way of me coping and internalizing this when it really isn't the reality of it. So I think when it comes into pattern recognition, being able to dig into the moment, you're really going to be able to see a bigger picture and see how your subconscious is really driving the bus on some of these things. So I hope that I may not have articulated that too great, but I was trying to do my best, but I hope that kind of resonated as an example. Jamie,
so I'll go ahead and give my example of what I do and sort of explain. So this is what I call, okay, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I sit down when I have an issue. The first thing I do is I draw a circle and write the problem. I identify the issue. The second question I ask myself is, how do I feel? And then I write any notes in this box as detailed as I can. The next question is, where do I feel this energy located? And then I'll write back, solar plexus, hip, whatever. And then I write, so then I go through problem solving. questions. How can I see this differently? What am I not seeing? What is it about this that's holding me back from seeing? Where am I blocked? And then usually by the time you ask those questions, more ideas are going to form, because when you send out the question, you're sending out seeking energies. But you have to be really specific and almost demand the answers, because you're pushing your thought processes past the boundaries. You're trying to pull in more information. So it's really a process. This ends up being a neural network. So, for example, I don't have to sit down anymore for the normal day-to-day stuff. I already know. I'm like, oh, this is sexual energy, or this is the father-daughter energy, or, you know, some kind of whatever I think it is that I've named to myself. Or, oh, this is that demonic energy I felt when I was a little girl driving to school when my mother had anxiety. You know, it's like, you know, I just start identifying the energies, and then I map it out in my mind. So I don't really need to sit down unless it's something that if I'm blocked, I'm trying to figure out how I can, you know, what I need to look at. Because we can't see when we're blocked. We have no idea. So we have to probe and sense and really feel into it and ask the questions. So that's my example. I map things out, and I'll go ahead and map one out for you guys and give it to you. But you have the problem-solving formula in the first PDF from the first class.
Okay. Any last questions before we get started with the meditation? Okay, well, let's get started.
Do you want me to put on some Hertz frequency while you do it?
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay. Go ahead and start if you want.
We can, if everybody just kind of take a moment to settle into your space, you know, sit or lie down comfortably, letting your body relax, and close your eyes if it feels safe, or soften your gaze. And if you would please, if you're not on mute, please go on mute so that we can, it helps strengthen the meditation for everyone. And if you would please, you know, take a couple of deep breaths in. When you're doing the breath in, just imagine, you know, just this soothing, healing, luminous light filling your lungs and providing your body, you know, relaxation and peace. And on the exhale, you're just exhaling out all of the stress that you have from today, from the week, from the experience of being a targeted individual, and just continue to breathe in the soothing, healing, peaceful light, and exhaling out all of the anxiety and the stress. And if you would place one hand on your heart and the other one on your belly or solar area to connect with your body's wisdom. And just keep breathing in deeply, inhaling through your nose on a count of 4 this time. And hold for 2 seconds. And exhale slowly for 6 seconds. Just keep repeating the process. Okay, so we can begin now. Now feel the surface beneath you, supporting your weight. Imagine roots extending from your body into the earth, grounding you in stability and truth. You are safe here. In this moment, held by the organic intelligence.
And you're not using this recipe. You're throwing away your chance to be summer ready. I started using this 3-ingredient pink salt.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'll repeat that. So in this moment, you're held by the organic intelligence of your soul. Now we're going to set an intention for this journey. And that intention is to release what no longer serves you and align with authenticity. So say to yourself, I choose to be present, honest, and free. I now give my subconscious mind permission to release distortions and embrace my truth. Notice your breath flowing naturally. With each inhale, draw in clarity and peace. With each exhale, release tension or resistance. Your biofield is a navigation system ready to guide you. Trust it. Now, let's perform a sensory scan to build a calm 0-point baseline. This is where your nervous system rests in truth, free from reactive survival responses like flight, fight, fawn, or freeze. Start noticing what you see behind your closed eyes or in your environment. Just observe without judgment. Shift to what you feel physically. Notice the weight of your body, the texture of your clothing, or any sensations like warmth or coolness. What do you smell? Perhaps the air, a faint scent, or nothing at all. Just note it. Finally, sense your internal state. Feel your heartbeat, any muscle tension, or subtle energy in your body. If you notice discomfort, tightness, or external sensations like tingling or impulses, and name them neutrally. For example, I feel tingling on the left side of my forehead. This is your 0 point, a space of calm where your reflexes don't hijack your autonomy. So next, let's engage in self-inquiry to release subconscious blocks and counter cognitive distortions. Ask yourself gently, am I lying to myself or allowing manipulation to avoid a painful truth? Don't force an answer, just let the question rest in your mind. Now, think of a recent trigger, a highly emotional moment, a moment of stress. It could be a thought, a sensation, or an external disturbance, like a voice or pain. Without judgment, ask, what is this experience teaching me? What is this experience teaching me? How can it help me override interference? If you feel resistance, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, that tightening that you get in your gut, acknowledge it. Say silently, this is a survival response, not my truth. I choose to release it. Imagine the resistance as a cloud dissolving in the light of your awareness. Now it's time to reframe the trigger. This experience is a gift showing me how to align with my authentic self. Breathe into this truth, letting it set in your heart. Your biofield is detecting energy. Trust it to guide you toward clarity. Authenticity is your master code, the language of your soul. Let's align with it now. Bring to mind the elements of authenticity: self-awareness, emotional honesty, accountability, tolerance, empathy, self-compassion, determination, self-acceptance, forgiveness, and gratitude. Choose one of those that resonates most right now for you. For example, if it's self-compassion, Say silently, I am kind to myself. I am enough. Feel this truth radiate from your heart, harmonizing your nervous system. Now visualize your biofield glowing with pure, truthful energy. Any distortions, trauma, manipulation, or interference are gently transmuted into the luminous light. Say to yourself, I am free. Take a big, deep breath and just slowly release. Release, release, release. Take one more final breath, very deep. Go deeper than you did the last time. And inhale clarity and exhale any remaining tension that is in your body. Know that you've strengthened your ability to discern truth, release distortions, and reclaim autonomy. Your biofield is powerful navigator, and authenticity is your guide. When you are ready, wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing awareness back to your body. And when you're ready, open your eyes gently. Now, take a moment to journal any insights, the sensations, or triggers you noticed, labeling them neutrally to deepen your practice. You can carry this 0-point calm with you, knowing you can return to it at any time. You are sovereign, aligned with truth, and capable of overriding any interference. We encourage you to journal for 5 to 10 minutes post-session to log the insights and reinforce the 0-point baseline. When you journal, you can it's amazing when you reflect back on it after some time, just how amazing your mind can teach you so much by the sensations and things that come to your awareness when you meditate in this way. You're just learning so much about yourself, your resilience, and let it be your teacher and guide. And we thank you for embarking on the Poli-Si journey, for claiming autonomy. When you're ready, if anybody would like to share what they experienced as I was reading through the meditation, please do. I can share what came up for me as I was reading it. it was a very good reminder when I'm engulfed in an emotional state or a trigger, whether it be work-related or anything, the experience of, being targeted or feeling pain in a moment, to just take a moment and neutralize and tune into my inner self and guidance for next steps in action, knowing that this too shall pass, and with it I've gained wisdom and understanding. Any questions? Again, this meditation can be found in the PDF that is with this lesson. You can go through it again on your own. These meditations can bring up a lot, and it can be intimidating when you start to these things start coming up. So again, this is all part of the healing process, and by doing this for yourself, you are beating these systems. And it's brave work, especially in this society. It's easy to just want to suppress and forge through to do the best that you can, because you've got to take action, and you've got things you have to complete. But it's very important for you to be able to sit with yourself and make time for yourself, to let it be a safe, neutral workspace for these emotions that are buried and stored within the body and in the mind to come forward, so that they can be transmuted and released. Because if we're in a pattern of continuously suppressing and ignoring these emotions and these sensations, then they take on intensity. And that's what forms, when we've suppressed so much, and then it gets to a point where we just, get to that one moment, that's that breaking moment, and then we have an explosive outburst. And it's because we have not allowed ourselves to process and to move and let some of this tension and stress and emotional triggers to surface and release. And this is how parts of ourselves get rejected, by continuously denying our anger, denying our fear, denying our anxiety or our melancholy. We have to sit with it, and it's our teacher, and let it come forward so that we can transcend it. Any thoughts or questions? Jamie, you want to go through? If anybody has any questions, please let me know. And then if there are no questions, maybe Jamie can go through the homework again about the journaling, just to go through it, so everyone's clear. Oh, yes, go ahead.
I didn't have a question, just had a statement. I'm not sure what you call them, but the list of feelings or responses you went through were really, really helpful. It brought up choices for me, as well as options. You mentioned self-compassion. You mentioned authenticity. There was a list of like 12 different things, and I had to start thinking to myself, oh, okay, maybe that one's coming up for me. No, maybe the other one's coming up more for me. Okay, this is a new one. I hadn't thought about that one. Okay, this one's really coming up for me.
So that's the formula and our template for everything we do. The Poli-Si agency is self-awareness, honesty, self-acceptance, tolerance, empathy, self-compassion, self-acceptance, determination, forgiveness, and gratitude. So when all of those elements are present, that's when you have a 0-point response. That means you have equal parts. So if you're in a negative situation with another human being, that means you've reconciled between self-compassion and empathy. You found like a balance point. And then as far as balancing between gratitude and forgiveness, you know, it's really like a thought processing that you go through. But all of those elements are present when you have a 0-point response, and that is your authentic nature. When you're not in your 0-point response, it's because there's some type of upheaval, you know, a belief out of alignment with an occurrence, or something's happening that, you know, you think you can control, but you really can't. You know, we're in relationships with people where we have patterns and the same things come up time after time, but when we're on the healing path, we have to get to a place where we eventually have to take accountability for all of the things that bother us, you know, instead of going behind their back and saying, you know, talking about them. Or, for example, something happens at your job and, you know, you go behind people's backs and you start a ruckus over here. Well, why don't you just address it? You know, so it's learning to set boundaries within ourselves and speak our truth without any guilt, fear, shame, anger, resentment, or blame. So that's what we're going to do, is learn how to balance.
It's so well stated. Does anyone else have any questions for Jamie? Again, if you haven't, I really encourage you to reach out to Jamie and schedule an hour session. And some of this work can be a little overwhelming, and it helps if someone can help guide you through some of the steps, or if you have questions. And then it helps solidify, you know, what you need to do on your own to continue the work and the progress. And again, I'll put it in the chat, Jamie's email.
So
I
the
don't have
homework.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll say mine at the end.
No, please go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you guys because this is so what I needed. I was actually doing this before the targeting, and it really disrupted my healing of what I was going through. And I saw a therapist when I moved, and she specialized in trauma. She kept asking me, "Are you ready to heal?" And I said, "No, not until this is over." And I came to a realization before I joined your group, it's time to heal regardless if this is over. And I can't express how grateful I am to you guys for putting this program out there. It is so needed, and you guys are right on with this. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you as much as you appreciate us, that's for sure. Is this your first week, or you were here last week, right?
Right. I was here last week. I would like to, I'm going to get in touch with you because I will definitely want to talk to you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I've already developed some friendships. I've got 3 ladies that I speak to on, I wouldn't say daily basis, but it's developed into a couple phone calls a week. If you're invested, I'm invested. I will give you as much time as you need if you do the work. But I cannot enable you and allow you to keep coming back with the same thing if you don't go and do the work. I have to cut off the supply.
this work is just so important. I got stuck, that I've been in this, targeted experience since 2012. I got stuck for a long time, thinking that, okay, everything is going to be okay, and I can really move forward in my life once this ends. And then the light bulb went off, going, no, I gotta do this now. I can't let this experience rob me one more minute, one more hour, one more day, and put my life on hold. I have got to charge full speed ahead, and keep living. I'm not going to let this experience defeat me in this way. And because the thing, even though we have this done against our will, but what it's doing is it is fueling the fire for our progression by being able to let go and to heal and to progress and to reclaim our self-power and self-worth. This experience alone is very degrading to the self-esteem and the self-worth, and that is what feeds the negative inner critic that and judgment on yourself. You have to free yourself from that. Look at it. Look how brave and how strong you are. You are under sophisticated technology trying to cut you down at any angle it can, using things, your own, thoughts and emotion and traumas to trip you. So again, I say this all the time. I got a clear, audible message, and I do not believe it was B2K because it was helpful. So I really do believe it was from a divine source, and it was at a very, very low moment of that I went through. And it was, if you get to the root of the pain that this is causing you, then it won't hurt you anymore. How powerful is that? And what this is exactly what all of this is about. And that's what led me on.
It's moving into the pain. So I have 1,000 stories of it. I've been doing this since 2005. So, for example, the first time I healed from lupus and Sjogren's disease, but at one point I thought I was going to end up in a wheelchair. I was in so much pain that I would walk like 10 miles a day because that was the only way I could get reprieve, was to just keep moving. As soon as I sat down or laid down, the pain was so intense. So one night I was trying to sleep, and I hadn't slept in a while, and I was just beside myself. And finally I got so angry, I said, you know what? Fuck it. Bring on all the pain you got. And I am not kidding you. The pain subsided. And I have multiple scenarios. And that's when I started like, wait a minute. When I move into this pain and I face it, it doesn't matter how scared I am. I say all day long, I am scared to death right now. I cannot believe this is happening to me. This is unbelievable. It's earth-shattering. It's mind-blowing. However, this is what it is. This is where I am. How can I take self-accountability for this? So another example, I was driving down the road and I just had a filling, and I don't know what happened, but my throat started closing up, and I started panicking. So I was like, do I drive back to the dentist, or do I go to the emergency room, or do I stop and call 911? So I just moved into it, and I said, you know what? Honestly, what came up was like, good. I won't have to pay any more bills. Go ahead and take me. And then all of a sudden the swelling went down. I couldn't believe it. This happens on a daily basis. As soon as I move into it, it disarms it. Another time, I was supposed to move into this new house in a 2-week time span, and it was actually a house of my brother's, and I had gotten new furniture, the whole nine, and I got a call at like 3 o'clock in the morning. He said, you have to go to the house, it's on fire. And I was like, what? So in my mind, I'm driving there, and I'm thinking, oh, it's just a little like, nothing fire, I'm moving, you know, me just trying to block out that I'm not moving. When I pulled up, this whole house was in flames, and I was like, oh my God. And I go, I guess you're not moving there. And I didn't even skip a beat. I was like, this stinks. I already have furniture. I was already planning this. It's taken me 18 months to get here, blah, blah, blah. It's just acceptance of what is. You cannot resist what is. It's a fact. But you can shift it. As soon as you accept it, you can shift it. If you don't accept it, you're resisting it, which is causing the pain. So try moving into the pain. It actually works. How can I see this differently? Where do I feel this in my body? What do I think this is connected to? What have I been thinking about recently? What's been bothering me? Am I having any difficulties in relationships? Is everything going all right at work? Is something weighing heavy on my mind? You know, am I watching too much news? Am I scrolling too much on social media? You know, we have to really figure out, what are these pressure points? I don't scroll on social media anymore because I was catching myself commenting a negative comment at 90% of the post. I'm thinking, oh, what an idiot, or she doesn't even know what she's talking about. But then I'm like, wait a minute, this is degrading, because I don't really feel that way, but the fact that I'm seeing it and I'm already triggered, I'm commenting. So I can't go on there. And if I do, I have to watch, you know, if I look at something, I watch my comments, because what you put out is coming back at you. It's quantum entanglement. You might be thinking a thought, but it's going to come back at you later.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you might flip somebody off at 2 o'clock, and at 5 o'clock you're going to hit your kneecap on the side of the couch. You know, when you start thinking in these terms of cause and effect, what am I putting out there that's coming back at me? How are these technologies pinging off of me? What am I feeding them to, you know, to allow this attack to be? So right now I have a cavity in my front tooth, and I'm controlling it. I'm healing it. I'm going to heal it. I'm controlling it with my brainwave. I've had sinus, you know, have been acting up here recently, which is always connected to like nerve pain whenever I get like a sinus infection, so I've been doing my protocols and maintaining. But as soon as I dip and let myself go down, it's game over. Then the pain starts.
Jill had a question. Jill?
Sorry, I must have forgotten to lower my hand.
Oh, okay. No worries. No worries. Does anyone else have any questions or comments or anything that has come up that you would like to share with the group?
All right, guys. Well, read. Take it in chunks. Read, meditate, journal. Connect your trigger responses, journal them. Connect the dots to what's triggering you, what people, what situations. What are you doing to contribute to that? How are you not taking accountability for setting boundaries?
So that homework again, I just want to make sure I'm clear on what the homework is. And I thought I've been on the meeting, but what are we supposed to be? We're supposed to be connecting what again?
So we are going to develop a personalized trigger and response journal system to track emotional, physical, and environmental triggers and their corresponding nervous system responses. So within the Poli-Si PDF, there's the governing defense and response model. So apply those processes to your responses. Basically try to track as much as you can. Where do I think this trigger came from? Who was I just talking to? What was I just thinking about?
Okay, thanks. And Melissa, I already sent you an email asking for that handout.
Okay, perfect. I'll get that over to you, Simon.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, and reach out, guys. I want to hear from you. I really do.
And thanks so much for everybody for joining today. Our next meeting will be 2 weeks from today, which let me get my calendar up. So that is going the 10th. So the next one will be May 10th, same time, same bat channel. So we'll be here. In the interim, just keep up the great work and doing the exercises. And again, any questions, reach out to me or reach out to Jamie. And we really appreciate you joining us here today. And have a great rest of your weekend and week ahead. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.